Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Was that you, Mr. Kingsley?
Well, obviously, I didn't have anything to wear this week for Christmassy theme, so I'm just using my normal attire.
Bit cold, mind, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to say, you look like you need to wrap up a bit more.
Well, it's a halfway house between wearing too much, too little. You know, what do I put on? It's just
that challenge, isn't it? Anyway, listeners, folks, welcome to the December edition of the Check It Out show. And hopefully everyone's noticed we've got a slightly seasonal theme running this evening, which is all very exciting. I think the last few weeks, work-wise, it's kind of been trying to not think too much about Christmas for fear of still quite a lot of work to do. So it's quite nice to finally just start being able to get in the festive spirit. So how's your week been, Mr. Anderson? Have you been starting to get a bit festive?
I have indeed. Having two young children myself, you'll know that the excitement about the impending visit from a certain gentleman wearing a red hat. Oh, it's not you, is it, Mr. Kingsley? No. So the Christmas tree is up. There's some wrapping being done and all these different things.
Nice.
But one of the things which has got me feeling the most Christmassy, actually, is something that we published and launched today through the NetSupport group, Twitter account, and other social media that we've got. And that is and you'll remember, we've written guides to try and help families keep children engaged and active and these sort of things during the summer. Well, between myself and Kat Couchy and a few others throwing into the mix as well, we've published today a 50 things to do this winter holiday publication. And it was such a joy to write it, Al. I got so Christmassy. There's loads of fantastic activities in there, from baking to watching to sending cards to building things with origami to all sorts of stuff. Thank you. Thank you to our little pixie behind the scenes. She's not really little pixie, obviously, our producer, who's all things amazing, Katie. Thank you for popping that up for us. You can download the guide right now by going to bit.ly/50-winter-activities. And it's just a lovely thing to have had the opportunity to develop and make. So if you haven't seen it yet, please do download it and share it far and wide. It doesn't cost anything. It's not behind a paywall or anything like that. It's just a lovely way to try and give a bit into the communities in which we try and work with and help people in now. It's just a lovely.
Yeah, a bit disappointed
really
though, Mark. I was a little bit disappointed. I had a good look through it and it looks fab, but I couldn't see any references to mulled wine or sherry or all the typical things that I would expect for winter activities.
Well, note to self then, next year, let's do a 50 things to do this winter holidays as an adult, shall we?
I must have missed that point. But nonetheless, I jest, but the most important thing is well done to yourself, Kat, and all those involved. The key thing is we like to try and provide things that support the community, families, other activities, share on the experiences of our amazing team. So it's a really it's a lovely doc, really well laid out, but there are genuinely some great ideas in there. In fact, a few for adults as well. And probably if I'd taken one of the suggestions, which involved an activity, as I recall, for designing a Christmas jumper, I might have made a slightly better hash of it than the one that I ended up wearing this evening. So there you go.
That's brilliant. And so what have you been up to recently then, Mr. Kingsley?
I think it's a case of I've been here, there and everywhere, mostly in a virtual sense, as we know, but all sorts of different activities and events. Last week was doing an event with the Edtech demonstrator program, talking about lessons learned, how we're moving things forward. Speaking tomorrow morning at the Westminster Education Forum, all sorts of education events. And I was very lucky on Thursday and Friday of last week to spend 24 hours staying at Windsor Castle, which sounds very grand. We weren't actually right in the main area of the castle, but with the team from the FED, Foundation for Educational Development, where all of us as co-chairs of the different work streams got together with, really brainstorming and sharpening the focus in terms of the research we're doing as part of that bigger plan to come up with a 10-year strategy for education. So my head was on a little bit of overload coming back up the motorway on Friday night, but it was a really both insightful and interesting process. So another tick in the box. So I won't deny, I am looking forward to finally hitting that countdown clock and it being a few days to switch the brain off for Christmas. But it is lovely to share this run up with so many interesting people.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the thing, isn't it? And it is quite difficult. I noticed a tweet that you actually shared just before we came live here from Missy Musician. I forget her first name, but it is important to think about some of the more difficult things that are happening for families and groups. It could be around pressures around family, memories of lost ones, and all these sorts of things. So just try to remember the Christmas wish from me, maybe perhaps just try to perhaps think and smile and look out for those around you, because it's such an opportunity to try and sort of make someone's day a little bit better if you can, just through a simple smile or how are you doing, and those sort of things. It can make all the difference, can't it?
It can make all the difference. And I think alongside that, just being mindful of just taking the time to share a thank you and ask her how you're doing to people that we know. I think this is a really good opportunity, Mark, something that I know we both try and advocate on a very regular basis, just to share a final of the calendar year. Thank you to everybody involved in education. I'm slightly cheesed off, as I'm sure many are, with the kind of continued narrative of post-COVID, post-pandemic. And for everybody involved in education, most of the people will be asking rightly the question, what do we mean post? We've still got the impact, we've still got the staff shortages, we've still got the disruption with our learners. But we've just had the benefit, up until this week at least anyway, of Ofsted coming in to join the party as well. So, I think rather than take it for granted, just a big thank you to everybody involved, and a hugely well-deserved rest over the next couple of weeks. Not least because, let's be honest, we're all sitting crystal ball gazing for what January will bring as our start to the new calendar year. And that's never easy. So please do take the time to recharge the batteries. But before you recharge the batteries, I think it's important that you spend those last few moments of the academic year savoring some of the latest and greatest new products and updates from the EdTech space. And I think we've got a pretty good summary and selection for this evening, Mark.
No, I'm really excited. And then you were talking about sort of recharging your batteries. Something you always need to recharge your batteries for the start of January is the amazing experience that is the BET show, which, as we sit here today, is still taking place in January. And so we'll be sharing a bunch of things around BET and what you can expect to see there and find there throughout the course of the show this evening. And with that in mind, it might be a good time, Al, to bring on our very first guest, given we're at our end of our little introductory section. Be a real change for us to actually be on time for once, wouldn't it? Shall we welcome our first guest onto the show this evening?
I think we should. Very relevant right now for our conversation.
Absolutely. So very welcome to Eve. How are you doing, Eve?
Hi, Mark. Hi, Al. I'm very well, thank you. I'm quite jealous of the backgrounds you've got going on. Very festive.
But it's looking nice and festive there as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't got the snow, sadly. I've not got the snow effect, but yeah, definitely the tree is up. So yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Lovely to see you, Eve. Thank you for joining us. We've obviously had a number of contacts and discussions in recent weeks about all things BET, and I think many of us, certainly Mark, you over the last couple of weeks have been flying the BET flag online with all sorts of social media conversations about our best and favorite activities. It is absolutely the highlight of our EdTech calendar year, so seems a really good juncture for this show to kind of talk a little bit about what people can expect from BET. And I suppose we might have to just slip in at some point an update just to reassure everybody of where we're at the moment in terms of planning and the safety measures that you've got in place, Eve, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps we should kick it off then in our true kind of questionnaire style with, I'm not going to ask you what is your solution, but I think we'll get that. So, but tell everybody the highlights they can expect from BET in January.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the highlight of BET, I think the first and foremost, and you kind of touched on it there, Al, is that people coming together in person. I think there's never been a stronger need for that than probably right now. And I think what better way to start the new year and kind of really recognize the incredible achievements, honestly, of the education community by coming together in person. And really recognizing that. So I think one of the things that we're always sort of conscious of in BET is that we know how fast this space is moving, and we know how much is going on, and we want to bring new features and new experiences to the show every year that can help educators in their EdTech journey wherever they are at that point. And I appreciate everyone's journeys probably looks quite different today than where it was that show in 2020. So whether that's, you know, about understanding and preparing for the latest trends, whether that's getting the most out of their existing tech, that's absolutely critical, making sure it's having that impact, or it's about discovering new solutions, whether that's reducing workload, creating efficiencies. And just a few of the ways we're doing that in January, for example, through our brand new esports feature. So a completely new, the first time we've really brought these, esports into BET, and an area where there'll be competitions, there'll be tech demos, there'll be in-depth sessions looking really at the power of esports and how you can really integrate it into the curriculum. It's a really exciting space, and one that we absolutely wanted to bring into the show this time. We also have kind of our BET Academy Live, and we've been running throughout the last 18 months online CPD accredited webinars to help educators top up the skills, help them to be useful tips and tricks for the right here, right now. And we're bringing that to the show in person through our BET Academy Live theatre in January. We also have our Leaders at BET theatre. We all know, it doesn't need to really be said, that a digital strategy is no longer a nice to have. And this is how you create a sustainable digital strategy and get that right. And from the start is going to be addressed along with sort of policy and whole school management as part of our Leaders at BET theatre. And alongside all of that, we also have our brand new events too. So we're launching our higher education event, Ahead by BET, alongside BET in January. Again, a really exciting, fast-changing space, and it only felt right that we were bringing that into our offering too. So just a few things there, but I think, one thing I do want to say, also it is new, and it is new at BET every year, is the companies that come. Like, we have a lot of incredible exhibitors at BET that showcase their fantastic products and services, and we're really excited that there'll be over 200 new companies there this time, really making sure there is something for every school, every setting, every budget. So that's really important to us, and we're really excited to welcome everyone back, as well as those new companies too.
Well, thank you, Eve.
Thanks, Eve. One of the things that has changed from the last BET event to the ones happening next in January has been the change from removing the Saturday and having the extended Thursday evening. There's some more opportunities for professional learning and to come in and have a look around. Could you share a little bit about what people could expect to find on that special extended evening on the Thursday, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for highlighting that, Mark, because I think it's something that is going to feel quite different. And, with what we want to do with that Thursday after hours is make sure that those that are coming, educators coming after school, after class, for example, can experience all of the fantastic things that BET offers. So as I mentioned, looking around the exhibition, testing, touching, feeling some of those products and accessing that incredible content, but in a slightly more sociable, relaxed environment. And I think that, again, is probably something that people are really looking forward to this year. So there's going to be a number of networking events that are happening. We've obviously have our Teach Meets, which are always really popular. So we'll have a number of networking events around the show, and an opportunity to kind of network with our exhibitors in a kind of more informal way. So I think that will be a really lovely thing, as I say, particularly this January.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eve. Over to you, Al.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm certainly looking forward to that. I think it's nice to have that kind of mixture and dynamic across the event. It's also interesting, Eve, obviously you said it's great to see lots of new vendors coming to join it, and we know how dynamic the UK EdTech scene is. For anyone listening in who is really excited, but also a little bit nervous about arrangements and how that's going to shape in January, what approach have you taken to make sure it's going to be as smooth and as healthy an experience as possible for everybody?
Yeah. So I guess the first thing I kind of really want to say is that the health and safety of everybody on site is our number one priority, and that I just want to make that really, really clear. we've been fortunate as a group to run a number of events already this autumn, and to be putting in place extensive safe and secure measures that are in line with government guidance, often beyond government guidance, and we've seen those implemented really successfully. And for us, one of kind of the major measures is around the COVID status checks on arrival to the venue, so making sure that everyone either has a vaccine passport or they have proof of a negative test, just to give everyone that peace of mind on site. Like, people want to come together, they want to be relaxed, and I this, as we talked about, how important coming together in person is this year, but we ultimately want them to feel safe. So the various kind of measures we're taking that include obviously cleaning, include a huge amount of as I mentioned, on arrival, the COVID status check. So we're kind of really making sure that everyone can feel at ease on site. So lots of information that can be read about on our website about that, but just reassuring everyone that that is our number one priority.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I have to say, as a vendor, the level of communication and organisation, I think, is very reassuring. So, we can certainly pass on to our customers that sense of confidence, as best as we can all be right now, but that confidence in terms of the event. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. One of the things which really stood out for me, because I'm terrible for this, Eve. Like, I always plan to do it before I leave and come to the event, but I always forget. But it's so important this time, as you've shared on the site, that you make sure you print out your badge and everything before you come. You haven't got you've sort of removed that ability for people to sort of print things out and try and streamline things that much more easily, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are an EdTech show after all, so going digital should be absolutely part and parcel of what we do. So yes, there'll be a lot more available via the app this year, and we'll be encouraging people to, exactly as you say, Mark, print their badges at home, because there'll be contactless registration. So again, just minimizing the areas that are kind of may present a risk, and ensuring that the event is safe. So and as I say, embracing tech in more forms. So but yeah, thanks for highlighting that.
No, that's all right. So 200 new exhibitors. Are there any that you'd like to spend a moment sort of highlighting that you think would be of interest for people to come and see when they come to the event?
There are there's not. I think what is fantastic about them is that they really touch every part of the show. So we have our Bet Futures area that spotlights startups in particular. And an area that is, the place to go for the new and the next, but across all of the show, across our equipment hardware zone, across our teaching and learning technology, across our management solutions zone, there are new companies in all parts of the show. So I think there's not an area that I particularly want to highlight, but just to kind of really remind visitors that are coming to do their research beforehand. You can check out actually from our trails specifically who the new companies are. So really recommend doing that research before the event and getting the very most out of the show.
I'm conscious of time, Eve. I'm just going to dive in, given our time window, just to ask the question in terms of anybody listening in who either wants to come to the show and right on cue. We've got some links appearing on the bottom of the screen, or also want to find out more. You've obviously mentioned more through the Bet app. Where can people find out more and get registered to come and attend?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find out more at thebetshow.com, and there you can find out the full range of content that we've got at the event, the full list of exhibitors, and also follow us on Twitter as well. So lots of different ways that you can find out, but definitely visit the website. And I think the Twitter handle right at the bottom there, at @bet_show. So perfect timing.
Perfect. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. You might have noticed we've been slightly enthusiastic for quite a few too many sleeps before the show, but we will continue to be enthusiastic in January, and really looking forward to catching up with everybody in what's only about 5 weeks now, isn't it?
I know, 5 weeks, amazing. And especially looking forward to the silent disco on the NetSupport stand on the Thursday evening. So thanks for getting involved.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Well, yeah, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity, and really looking forward to seeing you on site and everybody. And if there's anything else, yeah, as I say, please check out the website, but contact us if there's any questions that anyone has about the show, then don't hesitate to get in touch. But we're really looking forward to seeing everyone in January.
Brilliant. Thank you, Eve. Wishing you a very happy and peaceful Christmas.
Yeah, and to you too. I hope it's a good one and a restful one.
Fingers crossed. See you in the new year.
See you in the new year. Thanks.
You too, Eve.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Now, the first order of the day before I comment on that is to remove this hat because I'm having a bit of a hot flush, to be honest. So apologies, listeners, but Santa's had enough of that festivity already. Always nice to have Eve come on and join us on the show from Bet. But yeah, I think we're all long overdue just getting that chance, frankly, just to get together and have a big well-being dose alongside all of our friends and colleagues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And whilst we're talking about our guests and all these things as well, do a shout out to Kat and Rick and Creative Arts Learning with Maria and Russell and Katie from Time and all the lovely comments that are coming in from our audience. If you like any things that are being shared, if you wanted to comment on anything that's being shared as well, like Russell has just here, coming on the show later, really useful information about Bet from Eve. Please feel free to send us a nice message in the chat. We love to hear from you, as always. And no product placements ever allowed on this show, Mr. Kingsley. Obviously, that's a given with your secret EdTech diary mug just there. I need to get my own version, don't I?
It's just the only quality mug that I have available, Mark. It's completely coincidence.
Is it really? Well, look, I'm going to get on and bring on our next guest, someone who's been mentioned twice, I think, in the conversation so far this evening. Our fantastic colleague here at NetSupport, it's Kat Couchy. Welcome to the show, Kat. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We are good to see you.
Of course, it's the Christmas special.
Absolutely. So, Kat, welcome to the show. It's not your first time on the show. What are you here to share about this evening?
So today I am here to talk about the new issue of Rise magazine, which is coming out in January. So we released the first issue in September, and then the second one is coming out in just a few weeks. So very exciting.
Are we going to get a few sneak peeks?
Yeah, so one feature I'm really excited about this time is that we're actually going to include a bet guide. So all things bet, so lots of events not to be missed, lots of things that are going on with the different exhibitors, how bet might be a bit different this year. We're going to have a little bit of fun in there with some bet bingo. So lots of fun features there. So you've got your ultimate guide for anyone that's going or thinking about going. We've also got lots of different kind of Q&As in there, different people. We've got some of our writers from previously as well. Mark somehow has managed to get a few things written in there.
Only the two, though.
Yeah, we've got a big whole variety of content. We've got a new periodic table in there as well, and we know everyone really enjoys those. So many articles from different educators, lots that have written before, lots of new people as well. So just really excited to share our new issue. It's going to be good.
Mr. Kingsley.
I was pausing to let Mark come in. You see, we've got a slight little lag on our bit there. I'll dive in and Mark will jump in. So, Kat, obviously, we were very lucky and very, well, not really lucky. There's a huge amount of effort went into issue one that resulted in it being really, really popular. And we've had a fantastic response to all sorts of people downloading the first issue. So in issue two, you've obviously highlighted a few bits there, but in terms of kind of content areas, if anyone's listening in who hasn't seen the first edition of Rise magazine, what kind of topics do we cover in the next release?
Yeah, so really we kind of cover all things education, but you'll notice some common themes this time. We've got kind of things like leadership. We've got things about online learning, social media. There's lots of stuff about inclusion, online safety. We've got as well lots of kind of different things about reading and writing this time. So we've had some kind of literacy experts come in. So that's something a bit different for this issue. We've even got things like diaries in the day of. So if you want to find out more about different roles in education and what someone might do on a specific day, we've got content like that as well. So we've kind of got things for all across primary, secondary and higher education. with a mixture of different voices within. So there's teachers, leaders, and then even kind of specialists within EdTech as well. And we've always got Pets Corner.
Pets Corner.
Yeah, that's always a bit of fun.
One of the things I wanted to say, Kat, is one of the things that I love about the first edition, and having been privy to a few things that might be coming out in the second edition, one of the things that I absolutely love is there's so much actual authentic educator voice within there, from teachers to leaders, from pastoral to academic to technical to right across the gamut in age ranges. If somebody's watching the show this evening and thinking, well, this sounds great, I've got something that I'd like to share, how might they better get in touch and get involved and share some of their own thoughts in maybe the third edition of the Rise magazine?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be brilliant. So if you email rise@netsupportsoftware.com, or you can head to the landing page, which is scrolling across now, and there's a form to fill out on there. Or you can always tweet me at ReadySchoolK if you've got any topic suggestions, or are interested in writing, or just want to find out a bit more about Rise. I'm always around on there as well.
Brilliant. And there's a question I wanted to ask, Kat, if you don't mind. We might ask it to everybody this evening, which is, given we've started the theme, talking with Eve, what are you looking forward to at BET the most for next year? Oh,
that's a really good question, especially as we've been thinking about BET so much recently. I think for me, it's a chance to just interact with people. BET's always such a great meetup. It's always really nice to reconnect with people, but also meet new people as well. So just that human connection for me is what I'm most excited about, to be honest.
I think that's a pretty good answer. Can't disagree on that one.
No, not in the slightest. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time to come and join us this evening, Kat. I can't wait to see the finished publication.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, Kat, just one last thing. If someone's interested in Rise magazine, can they subscribe now and then get notified when it's available?
Yes, absolutely. So everyone that's already subscribed will get an email when it's available direct to their inbox. And then anyone that wants to subscribe from now will get notified as soon as it's ready to go.
And I just do that from the same...
Yeah, so same webpage, so netsupportsoftware.com/Rise magazine. It was ticking along a minute ago.
Brilliant.
I'm sure we can get that going.
Thank you.
And if people missed it, Kat, what is the release date?
Oh, so the release date is the 6th of January. So not long at all, even less time than till BET. So lots of time for you to explore the BET guide before you go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming on and sharing with us this evening, Kat. Look forward to catching you very, very soon, like tomorrow.
Thank
probably.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care, Kat. Thanks.
Oh, it is such a fantastic publication. I can't wait to see it all come together in the second edition. It was so jam-packed full of great advice, tips, insights in the first one. I just can't wait to get my hands on the next copy, Al, to be honest.
It's like the National Geographic of education. I might have slightly overstated it there, but nonetheless, we're very proud of it, aren't we? And people are really enjoying it. So the most important measure is, do people want to read it and do they share it with others? So we've been very fortunate with the response.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So who's next up on the show this evening, Al?
Well, we need to rattle on because I can see you're starting to get a little bit chilly there, Mr. Anderson. So our next guest is a familiar face from, I was going to say not that long ago, but actually it's many, many episodes ago now, given how many shows we've suddenly realized that we've had with the Check It Out show. But Matt Jones is here from Classroom.Cloud.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Look at that quality jumper. That's
like the Christmas tree. I stole it. I stole it from some other office in the building. They've all gone home, so hey.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified from some other office in the building, just so we're not broadcasting a theft.
Well, there was a big one down the road, but I couldn't get that through the doors. But I'll have another go later.
There's some quality decorations there as well, so no expense spared.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah.
I can even spot some early Christmas gifts on there as well, actually, Matt.
Yes, yours is there. Don't get too excited. So, yes.
Okay.
So as always, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First up, obviously, here with Classroom Cloud. So tell us what's been going on. That's a bit of a recap maybe on what Classroom Cloud's all about.
Absolutely, yes. Classroom.Cloud is our easy-to-use tool for teachers so that they can monitor, collaborate, interact with, and manage the students' environments in real time during lessons. So we've been working on that now for over a year, and we've had lots of exciting updates to that in the past probably 3 months since I was last on the Check It Out show. We've introduced support now for Windows 11, Mac OS, iOS. We've added device control, so teachers now can or restrict what webcams, what sound devices, what USB devices students can use during lesson. We've integrated with My Concern, so you can post safeguarding triggers directly in to My Concern. We've added safeguarding groups to make it more easy for techs to make safeguarding configurations more granular. Lots of quality of life improvements for teachers. Lots of updates for based on feedback from people evaluating and who purchased. And lots of updates to our phrase list database as well. So it's been a busy time. We've got an update hopefully before Christmas to integrate with CPOMs. So we should add that in as well before Christmas. And then we're hoping to add the safeguarding components into our iOS students as well. So that's all before Christmas, which isn't far away. So yeah, it's been a very busy time and still is. And I squeezed into my Christmas jumper.
We'll see what that looks like on the January episode, shall we, Matt?
Well, the Christmas jumper, I can't wear it after Christmas, no.
So thanks for sharing all that about Classroom.cloud, Matt. As someone who's had a chance, and I've been using it a lot myself actually recently on creating some training resources for teachers on how to use the features. I'm struck by how simple it is to actually get in there and use it with students and the features that are in there. Just want to sort of dive a bit more deeply into the safeguarding features, because as a tool which is primarily for supporting teaching and learning in the classroom, how is it that safeguarding ties in with that?
Yeah, so safeguarding in the UK is kind of something that all schools have to have appropriate measures in place to be able to monitor what students are doing on their devices all times. So we have our keyword and phrase monitoring. So we have a huge database of keywords and phrases in lots of different languages, not just English. I think there's about 12 different languages we support now. And that allows us to monitor what the students are typing. And then if there's any sort of triggers of any keywords and phrases that typing into a browser or an application, on lots of horrible categories like suicide, eating disorders, bullying, things like that, then we can capture the screen, we can capture video to give the teacher or safeguarding lead some context, and then pass that discreetly through our sort of system to the safeguarding team so they can deal with that in the appropriate manner. So it's a really powerful tool. It's been really useful to a lot of schools. And obviously with the pandemic and students not necessarily being in the schools all the while, some are at home, it works across the cloud. So it can monitor 24/7 if that's what you as a school want to do, or you can configure it to be turned on or off during school hours or certain networks and things like that. So very configurable, but a very useful and powerful tool.
I think that's one of the most important features, isn't it? I think it's lovely to see that, whether it's Kixi or SEPA in the US, wherever, and you know, Classroom.cloud is something that's available all around the world already. So you know, credit to the growth of the product. I believe in our bet theme, it's up for an award, Matt.
I believe it is, yes. So yeah, we shall see. But
bet finalist
yes,
next month.
Not sure what the award is, but yeah, I think it's been nominated, isn't it? So that's good news.
I think it was the category bestest product ever.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I think so.
I may have made that up, but it sounds pretty reasonable to me.
So absolutely.
The other thing then, Matt, I suppose just to clarify for people, other than testing you on whether you know the name of each of the ghosts on your jumper, and knowing you probably do.
Inky Pinky, Clyde, and Inky Pinky, Clyde, and another one. I've forgotten one. But yes, nearly 3 out of 4.
That's 3 more than I knew. Yeah, so with all these updates, what are kind of the highlights? Will people be able to check out Classroom Cloud at BET, or more importantly, check it out in their own schools?
Absolutely, they can. I say download. You can sign up for a trial at Classroom.cloud. I've added that into my kind of name tag there, the URL for that, but it probably will scroll along the bottom at some time. So you can go there, try it for free, no obligations, and if you need it for a longer period, or if you need it for a larger number of devices, then talk to us, and we can arrange that simply and easily. And then at BET, we hope to be showcasing some more new features, some exciting stuff we're working towards for a kind of big release in January. So come along to BET, see us on the stand, and internet provider or internet willing will be able to demo the product to you and show you all the features in detail. I mean, over the last few months, we've been going out and about to a few few events now. So we've been in Birmingham, Manchester, Newcastle, Brighton, and Dubai. Obviously, you joined us there, Al, and it's great sort of speaking to people face to face again and sort of actually showing them the product in the flesh as opposed to on Teams and Zoom and things like that. So yeah, really looking forward to that and chance to get real feedback from techs and teachers and safeguarding leads in schools.
And we have to ask, Matt, what are you looking forward to most at BET?
Meeting lots of people I haven't seen for nearly 2 years. So yeah, I think that's one of the big draws for me, actually, the kind of camaraderie of sort of like all of the exhibitors and customers and just people that you bump into year on year at BET, which I've missed massively. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And obviously spending a week with you two.
And the early morning
well.
Starbucks.
Great. And Starbucks in the mornings, yes, that'll be good as well. So yeah, lots of things to look forward to. So yeah, so really looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, me too, Matt. I can't wait. And yeah, thanks for sharing about Classroom Cloud. It's such an exciting product, and couldn't have come at a better time for education as well. So thanks for coming on and sharing again about Classroom.cloud.
Not a problem. Thanks, guys.
And I have to say, much as Matt very, very eloquently shares all the kind of the key highlights, the thing I think that is very much in the spirit we've seen over the last 18 months of EdTech is, you head across to the Classroom Cloud website, is just the scope of evidence that's behind it, having that external validation and assessment from a pedagogical point of view, as well as aligning with safeguarding standards. And I think increasingly now, I think the onus is on vendors to actually provide more of that evidence before schools invest their precious time in trying out new technology.
No, I completely agree. I mean, as you know, I was a fan of Olli Vallo's initiative when it was COCOA standard, the Education Alliance Finland, and I don't mind admitting, you know, I don't know how you were, but I was a bit nervous, to be honest. I knew Classroom.cloud was a great product when it went off its evaluation, but it's completely independent, isn't it? And so it was a proper sort of nail-biting moment. But 94% pedagogical efficacy. That's not too shabby, Mr. Kingsley. Not too shabby at all.
Now, I'm conscious our next guest is quite shy and probably will be very nervous about coming onto a public broadcast. So don't want to keep him waiting in the background for too long.
No, absolutely. And if you need to, you know, get a bit of paper in front of you and just make a few notes or have some kind of teleprompter, you know, then feel free to go and grab that quickly before we bring on the one and only inimitable Mr. Russell Prue to the show. Welcome, Russell.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. Good to see you. My budget, unfortunately, didn't stretch to digital snow, but I have got some nice lights on the display there that I hope are, they have to be flashed manually, so just forgive me if I just pop up and flick the switch on and off. It doesn't go to that, but I do have mug branding, which does look to be the course of favour for the evening. So thank you so much. Lovely to see you and your fine voice. I have thoroughly enjoyed the show so far. It can only get better.
Now that's famous last words, but let's do our darndest. We've obviously been talking about all sorts of BET things, so naturally we will segue onto that in due course, Mr. Prue. But first of all, you're here to talk a little bit about Anderton Tiger with us.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I have been making radio stations I was just doing the maths here, since 2009, and in 2022, that'll be 13 years, my goodness. And I've just have, right now, my 368th radio station in production. During the pandemic, just to bring everyone up to speed, we weren't welcome in schools for some, and still aren't, I have to say, and certainly not a second time, only to apologise. And so it's pretty tricky. So we started doing daily radio shows after Joe Wicks, not a PE teacher, I just can't help saying that, after his slot, and he was doing his exercise routines. We did an hour-long slot, and I remember talking about this in your last Check It Out show, and that was incredible. I was just totting up the numbers. Over 1 million children listened to our broadcasts, and we'd have famous authors on, and we'd ask them questions, and we'd ask thank you so much, Mark, we'd ask them questions that the young people had put to them. We're using Padlet technology, so very interactive. And because it's radio, no one needs to see you. These were the days when Zoom was kind of, oh no, not Zoom. What happened if somebody does a Mooney on the screen? Well, that does happen, I'm afraid. It's a tricky old business. Whereas radio, no one cares what you look like because they can't see you scream on the radio. And so we made some great progress and made some great shows. And that kind of continued until folks got their houses in order and started offering their own kind of digital resources. Now that's a statutory requirement for schools in England, of course, and of course in the other nations have followed very closely with that. So there's less of us to do. Occasionally we'll put a show together, and I can't help but mention the brilliant Maria Wojciechowska-Kaneda, who teamed up with me and did some amazing shows. Some of our crafty cafe shows on Saturday mornings were a joy to behold. So we were putting some really clever stuff together. You get your sticky back plastic and a whole range of stuff which we'd put on the website before, and then Maria would lead us through some creative activity, and that was really good until the weather got better, and then everyone was outside and our listener numbers went plonk onto the floor. So we kind of suspended those shows at the moment, but looking at the news, they could well be back fairly soon. I have to say, who knows what's going to be happening. But so we've been doing some radio non-stop throughout the year, and that's been really interesting, keeping us busy. Haven't earned any money from it. Of course, lots of us have just been putting ourselves out there and just developing ourselves as professionally as we possibly can, because that's all that's really been open to us. So that's what I've done. I've just moved. This is a brand new studio, my first activity in the brand new studio. I haven't got all the way around with the soundproofing. You can see I've just about made it there, and the shelf unit's there as well. And needs must. We've just kind of moved to try and save as much money as we possibly can. This storm is not over yet, and the ship is not as weatherproof as I would like it to be. So we've moved, saved some money, moved the studio, and this is a smaller space, cheaper space, and hoping that'll keep us going for a little bit longer. These are tricky times for us all, but hopefully the good folks will survive, and when we come out of the end of it, we'll still be intact. And thank you so much indeed for the support for all of our customers. So I make radio stations so that young people can enjoy and be in the thrill of the moment whilst they're practicing their speech and language skills for real. I think young folks have just given up pretending. Talking into the edge of an iPad, pretending you're on the radio, just isn't doing it for young people anymore. They need the bling factor. They need microphones that look awesome. They need good quality headphones, better than the headphones that they would be able to buy at home. They need mixing desks that really work. They need on-air lights that pop on. They need all of that, and I call that theatre. They need theatre to just spark their imagination and hold them on task so that you get the very best out of them. I host radio workshops. I've just got a lovely piece of work for a school in Cardiff, Bryn Hafford. I hope I've said that correctly. A lovely primary school in Cardiff who are going to have me for 13 weeks starting in January. So the first quarter of next year. Fingers crossed. I've no idea. Of course, the First Minister in Wales may have a different view as to whether external visitors are welcome in schools. So doing a bit of preparatory work this week to get in there and prep their radio station so they're ready to do virtual sessions with me should that be required. So I do a bit of that as well. But I'm really looking forward to Bet, and I'd loved Eve. Thank you so much indeed for sharing all of that with us. And thanks, Al, for pushing us out there on the stand again. We've got a brilliant studio. If you want to come and visit us, listeners, viewers, it'll just be brilliant to see you there. We're building a bespoke studio on the NetSupport stand, and you'll be able to just pop along there and see us. And I've just made a list this evening. Katie will have got that of all the people I'd love. It's my wish list, Russell's wish list of all the people he'd be delighted to know that Lewis Hamilton made it onto the list this year. I've just got to ask him, what is it like to lose, mate? How does that feel? I'd love to interview him as well. So I've just made my wish list of people to interview. But we've got a lovely bespoke, we're going to build a bespoke studio on on the stand. So you can come and see what you could have in your school if you wanted to as well. And we've got the pink headphones, silent disco. I'm delighted that Eve mentioned that. And we're going to make some good use of those extra 2 hours on the Thursday from 6 o'clock until 8, when Bet is open for the very first time ever in its history past the 6 o'clock line. It'll be very interesting to see whether we do attract colleagues that just can't get. Fingers crossed. I'm so hoping, I'm praying that lots of people will just go, yeah, absolutely. Conditions, obviously terms and conditions apply, of course, because we just don't know what January is going to bring for us, really. If you're listening to some of the things that are going on in the House of Commons this evening, you believe that there was no pandemic at all, really, and everyone's just good friends with everyone and we're just going to weather the storm easily. But, of course, those of us in the classroom know that that is not the truth, and things are wholly difficult for us as well. So really looking forward to the silent disc there. Mark, you're going to spin some discs, and I've got a mixing desk for you, so we should be able to mix some banging tunes. Of course, you'll need some pink headphones. You'll need to come to the stand. Of course, we will broadcast that as well if you want to listen to it. So I'm really thrilled and really looking forward to my first face-to-face event for 2 years now, as you say. It's just desperate. We're humans. We need the contact. I mean, I don't know what else. I'm really excited because we've been deprived of this activity for such a long time. And all of the Christmas cards I've had so far have said, really looking forward to seeing you. Are you going to be there? Yes, absolutely. And I've written, I'm just thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have our very first face-to-face for such a long time, gentlemen. You must be too thrilled.
We are extremely excited. We are, well, I have to say, wearing my NetSupport hat, it's fantastic to have you back with the family on the stand, Russell. It's always a week that's not just fun meeting all of our peers in the industry and friends within education, but actually it's nice as a group to be together and spend a few days together. And as you say, now, more than ever, I think that's something that we all are really, really looking forward to. And we have a good giggle and a bit of fun, which is what's important when you spend time together. Obviously, we'll hold judgment on Anderson's selection of banging tunes, because I suspect he'll filter out all of my suggestions. But that aside, Mark's looking very innocent there.
I'm sure I'll fit in some Vanilla Ice for you, Al, or some Bananarama or some other 80s memorabilia for you.
He's more Neil Diamond, really. That's what's really going to float his boat. That's what we need. Forever in blue jeans. He's an absolute hit. And coming to America, those are the things that we need. But you can mash them up with some house or some techno trance music in the background.
Yeah,
Mark, I'm looking forward to it as well. Thanks so much indeed for having me along. I've had a lovely time. It's been absolutely fantastic. Time to drink again from my branded cup. Other branding opportunities are available. And thanks so much indeed. And good luck with the rest of the show. Thrilled to be a part of it again.
I wanted to ask you, Russell, sorry for jumping in there, Al. For me, and you mentioned my sort of experience in my youth, as it were, doing the DJing and all that sort of stuff, and I genuinely can't wait for the silent disco on the Thursday, 6 till 8 on the NetSupport stand. But one of the things I think is so compelling about the Anderton Tiger offer into education, it is so authentic and affordable for schools. And particularly given the situation we find ourselves in, a fantastic way to maintain communication while still linking to really real life projects around oracy and production and promotion and all these different things. So for those people who might be interested in finding out about where to find these and how to get involved and purchase one of your bespoke setups or one of your sort of more standardized setups, how can they get in touch? What can they do? Where can they go? All those sort of things, Russell.
You're very kind. Thank you so much indeed. Following the ticker tape on the bottom of the screen, if you just go to the website, andertontiger.com, I am still the only manufacturer in the UK that has their own radio station. So I kind of believe in walking the talk, not just telling you how, but showing you how as well, with a live radio show as well. And come and see how we do it at BET as well. So we're broadcasting. We've got a student takeover. Pupils are coming from afar to take over the equipment and to broadcast their shows from the stand as well. We'll be hooking up with some other school radios from around the world, and that'll be a very exciting opportunity. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
Brilliant. Thanks, Russell. Al.
So I was going to say a quick, obviously, thank you to Russell. I think Russell is always so generous in talking about activities and events we're going to be doing at BET. I love the fact that we can encourage people to not only come and join the show a bit, but also, as you very, very kindly shared there, Mark, as well, come and have a look at the technology and the equipment as well, which is really, really important. And in fact, my dog in the background seems to agree with me on that. So, you know, it's some great technology, easy to use, but really, really flexible. So definitely. Now we are running slightly behind schedule, but we always expect that. That's just par for the course, unfortunately. So shall we get our next guest into the studio, Mark?
We can, but I just wanted to ask, Al, were we going to do that special thing we spoke about at the beginning of the show?
Yes, we were.
So before although we may have missed that opportunity now, actually.
Okay.
Looking in the green room as I am, I think we've missed that opportunity, unfortunately. So I will zip my mouth.
That was my oversight.
That's okay.
We will move on to the next guest.
We'll move straight on to the next guest, who is the fantastic, and this is a guy I met. Crikey, I mean, he might hold up some fingers in a moment, because I don't even know if he actually has enough fingers to hold up, actually. But he works at a company that, when I first met him, was called Lend Me Your Literacy. It is now more commonly known under a completely different name. I mean, when I learned how long ago it was since they changed the name, it made me think, okay, how long have I known him for? But something that I love about this guy and the company he works with is that they are so firmly placed on improving standards in education. From an educational background, former head teacher, really, like Russell was talking about, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk as well. And another product that impacts not just in the UK in hundreds of schools, but across the world. I love hearing from people in Dubai sharing about how it's having an impact in their schools as well. So, without doing his job for him, I will shush and welcome Simon Blower from Pobble to the Check It Out show. Welcome, Simon. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Thank you for the big introduction, and thank you for your kind words, Mark, as always.
That was the longest introduction of anybody there. But you are truly a privilege there, Simon.
Yeah, that was very kind, Mark. Thank you. And I honestly couldn't say. It must be almost 10 years, I would suspect.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
I had not a full head of hair, but certainly a little bit more hair back in the day. But it's been a good journey. It's been an interesting journey, definitely.
Simon,
sorry, Al, go on.
No, I think we have a bit of a lag between Mark and I, because one of us will start and it'll just be a little bit of a sign thing. So you go ahead, Mark, honestly.
Thank you. I just want to say, obviously I'm aware of who you are and what you do and all these different things. But for those who don't know Pobble, could you possibly give us a bit of a background into what you are, what you do, and what you're trying to achieve in education?
Yeah, absolutely. So, fundamentally, we're a platform for trying to help improve children's writing. Initially started as a place to celebrate children's work, audience and purpose. Fans on the show are people like Pi Corbett will know how important that is to children. That grew into a place where we provided resources for teachers. So I'm very passionate, as you both know, about just trying to help people, help children, help teachers, help school leaders. And we sort of spotted the opportunity really to start to provide content. Lots of that free. In fact, you joined us actually on the day where the original Pobble 365 finally closed today, Mark, and it now sits within the main Pobble platform. I'll maybe come back to that in a moment. We then got into the realms of pupil tools. So as technology started to change in the schools, we looked at how we could get the children maybe online, uploading their writing instead of the teachers. And really interestingly, I guess alongside the challenges of COVID in the last 18 months, we've now got an online writing moderation tool as well, which has been a really interesting project. I perhaps mentioned it when I came on the show right at the beginning of the series, but a tool that allows basically teachers to moderate with each other without traveling in a car, sitting in a room, obviously much safer in the current climate, but actually on the back of work that we did with 10 local authorities last year, also proven to save time and actually significant costs to the local authority as well. So yeah, we're now in a position where we have this set of teaching and learning tools which individuals can access. And interestingly, talking about the worldwide audience, about half of our regular users now come from Australia and New Zealand, which is a real big shift since really the start of remote learning. We've seen a real sort of engagement level from that part of the world, all the way through to schools accessing Pobble. And then obviously we now have the moderation piece alongside it. We do see that, you know, there's an obvious link. We're uploading work for publishing. Why don't we also use it at the same time for moderation as well? But that's now been adopted by, as I say, whole local authorities from as north as Gateshead all the way down to sort of Devon and Cornwall and right across to sort of East Sussex and Bournemouth. So yeah, really changing time, I guess. But yeah, coming back to the drive, it's moderation in terms of excitement for me isn't quite the same as a child becoming a published author. So I'm still very driven by children just getting excited about writing, teachers being able to access resources that just motivate their children to write. My particular class where I started Pobble, I had 39 year 5 children with a large number of SEN, large number of EAL children. And there were so many reluctant writers, as you'll both be aware of. It's sort of a regular occurrence in lots of schools. And, you know, if it was the chair being thrown across the classroom or the child running out the door, it was quite often writing that was that sort of trigger point. So, yeah, we've always been driven by, well, within every child, there is a writer somewhere, we think. And actually, we try to do our best to at least get them to achieve their best. So, yeah, that's it in a couple of minutes, probably slightly too long.
I think your microphone's off, Al.
Is my microphone off, Mark?
It was.
Thank you. I was going to say we'll deviate a little bit from our questions because we're thinking about what's coming up and what's new and what's going to be happening in January. So rather than asking you about how what makes your solution different, perhaps you could just share a few of the things that are, you know, are new or people can expect to see if they come and check out your solution in the new year.
Yeah, so as I say, looking at the either end in a way, Al, the resources side of things. So I mentioned that the Pobble 365, which many of your viewers tonight will be aware of, that's always been a free resource on Pobble and remains free. But it's now sitting within the main platform because one of the areas we had a lot of requests for was content. So teachers that were looking for content for remote learning, for quick wins. We felt that stamina for writing took quite a big hit during certainly lockdown 1 and lockdown 2. Children that were maybe getting support with reading and maths at home, or maybe little support at all. Actually, writing was the area that schools were feeding back to. So we focus a lot on the content, lots more lessons, all built in-house. So we have our own sort of lesson builder tool. And again, really importantly, that allows teachers to edit and adapt their own lessons. We build slide types for them, like word banks, writing checklists. So again, really driven by high quality, but how can I also adapt it for the needs of our children? You know, I am a teacher, but I'd never know a class better than the teacher that's got them in front of them. And then at the other end is, as I said, that opportunity for whether it's an individual teacher that, you know, has never moderated for the last couple of years because sort of statutory writing moderation went away, all the way through to, you know, a multi-academy trust that's realised that, you know, they've spent thousands and thousands of pounds bringing year 2 and year 6 teachers together. And actually, there's a way that technology can now do that. And, you know, having watched Mark present for many years, like Mark, I'm only an advocate for using Edtech when it does a better job or at least saves time or does something. It's not Edtech for the sake of Edtech. So, and I think that's what we now offer with that moderation piece.
Well, thanks, Simon.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for the hat tip as well. And it's so important to, you know, leverage technology to make our lives that much easier. And I think, you know, that's whilst the moderation piece is starting to sort of gain momentum. I think far more MATs and authorities will be far more interested in that. Even if it's sort of reducing the contact, you know, in a world we now find ourselves in, but actually those efficiencies of time savings and it's such an important thing to standardise so that children get the same sort of fair deal when their work's assessed and they know where they're at and so forth and so on. I think that's going to be so good for you. Speaking about BET, Simon, sorry, I understand you're going to be at BET. Do you want to share a little bit about that? And could you share at the end of that maybe what you're looking forward to most at BET?
Yeah, so firstly, a huge thank you to Al. I've been going to BET now for, I believe it's 6 years. I sort of went as a visitor. We then went in the BET Futures area. We graduated from Bet Futures, can we say that, into the real bit of Bet, as much as I love Bet Futures. But this year we were sort of a little bit, what are we going to do? I think like many, as still a relatively small EdTech company, really not sure about what January would look like. And Al very kindly offered me a space on the NetSupport stand, and having sort of listened in for the last half an hour, I'm not sure about my disco choices, but I'm really excited to be joining the NetSupport stand, obviously under the umbrella of Pobble, but yeah, just an opportunity to, I always think Bet, I go with no ambitions of I'm going to sell lots of Pobble. It's just a great chance to connect with people, talk to like-minded people. I've gone from spending 79 nights away from home in 2019 to working from my home office for 18 months. So the chance to go and talk to people like yourselves in real actually, that's for me going to be my biggest highlight of Bet, I have to say.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to resonate with the same thing about that human factor. And from my point of view, you're more than welcome, and it's all part of. I think people don't always appreciate that there's a real community in the UK of vendors and educators who work together to make our solutions and the whole marketplace successful. And I think that community really comes together at Bet. So it's lovely to kind of be together and sharing those experiences. So yes, we're just going to keep our fingers and pinky toes crossed now for the next few weeks. Definitely. But really looking forward to having you and the Pobble team down with us, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
Good.
Cool. Well, great to see you, Simon. Thanks for that. And as I hope you're feeling a bit, viewers won't know, Simon's a bit under the weather, having caught COVID himself. So fantastic. And thank you for giving us some time to come and join us this evening and share about the great work you're doing at Pobble. I'm mindful we are well behind our schedule. So I'm going to come straight in and welcome the one and only Mr. Al, and this could get confusing, the one and only Al Metcalf to the show this evening. Looking very festive there, Al. Well done.
I'm doing my best here. Yeah. Nice to see you both.
And you too, sir. So you're from Deliver Computing 360. For those who don't know, what is Deliver Computing 360? If they've missed you on a previous show or haven't heard of you, what's it all about?
Well, this is our second time on the Check It Out show, and thank you for inviting us to the Christmas special. Really excited about that. So yeah, Deliver Computing 360 is a fully interactive learning environment for key stages 1 to 4, with hopefully 5 on its way. So it's really exciting. What we're trying to do is to deliver computing in a really good interactive way to all age groups across schools. So students who do a whole range of different topics at Key Stage 3, practical topics such as animation and movie making and graphics production. And then they're doing things like HTML and Python and coding and all sorts of stuff like that. And that now, thanks to our new team doing Key Stage 1 and 2, that now starts much earlier on, and they can bring those skills from primary into secondary.
And Al, thanks for sharing that. Obviously, your solution's been on quite a journey. You seem to always be adding in new things. So what are the latest highlights? You're obviously broadening, and it's not just computing. Is that right, that you're offering as courses?
No, it's not. We're offering media studies as well. And we've got computer science, computing, media studies, and business studies will be coming along shortly as well. But the premise is really about, instead of offering a snippet of the education of computing to students and to schools, we offer the entire package, and that's why it's called 360. So, for example, for each unit that they have to cover, you don't get 2 or 3 lessons, you get every single lesson. So everything is there, the full lesson plans. And one of the new things that we've been developing based on feedback from schools is our new Tick as You Teach lesson plans, which allow teachers to tick off the lessons and the sections within the lessons as they teach them. And if you have a shared group, which a lot of schools do, they have one teacher for one lesson, then another teacher for another lesson, then the other teacher can see where the previous teacher got up to and can continue seamlessly. And this all came about when we were sort of looking at trying to make it easier for students to do work, not just on in the classroom, but to work at home as well. And this then really came in, obviously, when we were hit by COVID, that the schools that were using our system found that that worked really, really well. And students who perhaps didn't have the equipment or the software at home, they were able to utilize our platform because we have things like integrated graphics programs and animation software built into our platform, word processing and that sort of thing, all integrated into it. So if they don't have the software at home, it doesn't stop them doing the work because they can use any device. So, for example, they could use a mobile phone, they could use a tablet, they could use a laptop, they could use a PC, they could use a Mac. But as well as that, if they didn't have some of those things, lots of students have games consoles. Well, they can use the browsers on games consoles. Some people have a smart TV. Well, selected smart TV browsers, we operate on that. And we're now supporting Fire tablets.
Wow, so the full remit there available, Al.
Yeah. Chromebooks as well. Forgot that.
You're on mute, Mark. That's just so that we're even tonight.
I think I just we can even out. That's all I did it for. One of the things, Al, that I loved about DC 360 when I got a chance to have a little.
Sorry, you're talking to me.
One of the things that I loved about Deliver Computing 360 was actually, I mean, it sounds great with you sort of, tick as you go, lesson plans and all these sort of things. But for me, the innovation in there, alongside obviously the product itself, though, are some of the things that you've built in from your experience as a head of computing and things yourself around, curating coursework and bundling the packages up and all those sort of things. Being a former head of department myself, I know how useful that kind of functionality and feature is. Have you got a moment to just sort of share quickly about that, please?
Yeah, well, we cover such a range of units, all fully mapped to the national curriculum. I know from a head of department, as you will yourself, that that having everything documented, all your schemes of work, your lesson plans, your materials, all your resources, and everything like that, that they all need keeping up to date. Well, we take that pressure away and we make sure that that's done. And the other thing with IT is because a lot of teachers only see their classes once a week, that you also have an awful lot of marking to do. And again, our site takes that away and takes care of the moderation as well, because a lot of the stuff is marked. When we're talking about innovation, we've just introduced a new marking system that actually marks essay questions. So students can actually apply to essay questions, which is really, really good. I mean, taking all this into consideration, we were really lucky. It's been such a whirlwind in that we were awarded Best E-Learning Platform UK 2021. We've got a 5-star Edtech rating. And thanks to Al, we're going to be coming down to have our first visit. Very exciting at BET. And so really excited about that. The hat's getting really excited about that. So it's about bringing everything together. And when schools come to us and they say, can we do something? There's something that we need to do, something my manager needs me to do, or my line manager, or the head, or whatever. Then we try to integrate it. That's why we've integrated things like a flashcard system. We've integrated a glossary. We've integrated RAG rating. And another new system that we've just integrated literally 2 weeks ago was a new note-taking system, which allows the teacher to see the notes that the students have been making and RAG rate and comment on them as well.
All very exciting.
It is, yeah.
So, Al, really conscious of our time this evening.
Yep.
For those listening, other than coming and seeing you at BET, which we're all looking forward to.
And thank you for letting us come down, because we're really excited about that, yeah.
Oh, our pleasure. We're really, really pleased, as part of the broader family, to have you coming down. tell everybody about where they can find out more about Deliver Computing 360 right now. Get on the trial.
Well, yeah, we're doing free trials, free demos. Just go to delivercomputing360.com, click on the booking, and you'll be able to book a slot straight away, and you'll get a demo, and you'll get access to our trial system, and you can even send in one or two of your classes, and we'll get them set up so that you can actually trial it with your classes and see how it goes.
Perfect.
And in addition to that, if you do then sign up, then you'll get a nice little graphics tablet to welcome you to the group, which works with our graphics software.
Win-win there. Thank you so much, Mr. Metcalf.
Thank you so much.
See you in January.
See you in January. Bye.
Have a great Christmas, Al. Stay safe and look
too.
forward to seeing you in January. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Take care. Bye. Now, I bet you're feeling glad there.
Well.
I'm glad. I bet you're glad now that Katie took out the right Al that time and didn't leave Al Metcalf in here by mistake.
You might have been pleased about that, but nonetheless.
So steaming quickly on, welcome to the Check It Out show again. Tracy from iVengers. Hi, Tracy.
Hello. It's lovely to see you both. How are you? Christmas
very good.
Yeah, you found a festive jumper. Very good.
I did indeed. I'm not a cat lady. I'd like to point this out, but it's the tackiest thing I could find. So we're rolling with it this year.
Do you want to start this time, Mr. Kingsley?
I can do. We're both being polite here to saying who shall ask the first question. But listen, Tracy, lovely to see you. For those who don't know about iVengers, hopefully you could perhaps just share a few highlights, kick things off for us.
Yeah, sure. So iVengers is a peer-led digital leaders program. It kind of feels a bit old-fashioned now saying that. You think, oh, that's so 2019. But actually, it's still a formula that works really, really well. So we're working in primaries at the moment, and we have our iVengers, who are online heroes, because the online world does need heroes, and our young people, they're going to be the ones that are stepping up to the plate and helping to make online a safer place. So each school has a couple of iVengers in each year 5 and 6 class. They're responsible with leading online safety in the school, and teaching the teachers and teaching the parents. So it's about harnessing the knowledge and the passion that our young people have for all things online, and using that to educate everyone. We set 2 tasks each term. Some of them are really, really simple. Some of them go into a little bit more depth, and we cover things like healthy selfies. So what kind of images are okay to share online and which ones aren't. And we look at things like all of the legal aspects or the legal stuff that goes behind that. It's led by our teachers. We don't know about what safeguarding incidents we've got going on in school, whether we've got children who've been affected by this that we know about, children that have been affected by this that we don't know about. So we have to deliver it in quite a sensitive way, so that can be quite a big task to perform. And some of them are really great fun, making videos. And again, we like to make videos that look at the positives and some of the negatives of being online, and then sharing them with parents and carers. I know that we're not allowed to use the phrase hard to reach anymore. It's parents that we haven't yet reached. But if we're getting children to make the videos and sharing them with home, then we're educating our parents at the same time. So all the tasks that we've written, they link in with things like teaching online safety in schools, which we know is what all HMI are now trained around, and keeping children safe in education. So we've linked it in with some really good statutory documents, but actually it's about safeguarding children. It's about giving them the skills, the knowledge, to be able to be safer online, but doing that in a really positive way, rather than telling children, don't do this, don't do that. If you do this, this awful thing will happen to you, because actually for the majority of children, it won't. But for some children, it will. So, and I've worked in safeguarding for a long time, and I really understand some of the things that children face and the long-term damage that can cause. So if we can teach about these things in a positive, upbeat, factual, sensible, fun way, then we're on to a winner. So that's iVengers. But what I'm really excited about is sort of like an add-on to this, which is our iVentures special agents. So we've rewritten all of our tasks, and they are now, well, they will be by January, available for special schools. So we're putting them into British Sign Language, Makaton. We've developed them so they're good for children with severe to moderate learning needs, right up to children with high functioning autism. So it's a big job, but you know, I sit on one of the working groups looking at how we better support vulnerable and SEN students online. And there is such a huge gap in this area. And we know from research that these children are the most vulnerable online, and they deserve quality resources to help them navigate the online environment. So yeah, so that's iVentures and iVentures Special Agents. So excited.
Learn more about it. If I was a head of a school, or sort of had leadership responsibility for this sort of thing within my school, and wanted to find out more, where can I go to learn more about this, Tracy?
Well, unfortunately, this wasn't as snappy as a website as it was as it tripped out of the children's mouths, because it was our young people that gave us the name iVengers. But check out the website. So it's i-vengers.org.uk. Or you can always contact me on Twitter. I am at Online Safety Hub. So yeah, and I'm always happy to engage in conversations, always.
And we have to ask the question at the end, of course, which is, what are you looking forward to most about BET this year?
Oh, I'm so excited. Do you know, it's all the things that people have said already, and it's about interacting with people again. It's about seeing people. It's about seeing all of the new products and some of the old products. Just seeing how things have shaped and changed, because from a safeguarding perspective, I've seen huge shifts over the lockdown period, and I'm just interested to see how things have shifted for everyone else. And I hope Russell's not still looking. I'm not close to Russell, but I want to give him the biggest hug when I see him. I don't know why. I've just got this. Oh, I might pinch his mug while I'm there though, because I've got a bit of mug envy as well. No, but in all seriousness, it's that connecting with people. It's seeing how the tech area and the education area has changed during lockdown, and just making connections with people and telling them about iVengers. One of your other guests said it's not about going for the big sell. It's not. It's about that networking, and it's about meeting people and sharing ideas. And I know that I'll come away and go, right, I need to rewrite everything, because there's some amazing stuff out there that we need to incorporate. It always really fires my imagination. I love it.
I think that's a really, really good point to kind of wrap that one up with, Tracy, because I think everybody who creates solutions for schools learns as much as they share at BET. That's the key. You're always learning.
Yeah, always, always. I'm so excited to see you guys, obviously. Goes without saying.
Well, obviously, Russell's getting a hug, Mark. You notice we're not.
That's all right.
Lovely to see you, Tracy.
And you have a wonderful Christmas, both of you. It's lovely.
You too. We'll see you in January.
Lovely to see you.
Bye now.
Take care.
Take care. Bye now. And you know what? We can. Russell's very huggable, so we can just join in for a big hug. I think that would probably be order of the day there, Al. Don't you think?
We most certainly can. Yes, indeedy. Shall we jump into our next guest? Because I'm very conscious for our guests waiting in the green room. We've left them slightly longer than we would normally plan to this evening, but it's just been too much exciting conversation. So
I know.
Let's invite our next guest in, which is Ben from A&ME.
Hi guys.
Look at that.
Hi, Ben, how you doing?
Look at that. I'm Festive. Reindeer. There you go.
Look at that. Very good indeed.
I'm boiling. I'm gonna have to take it off in a minute.
I've lost about already.
Yeah.
Ben, welcome to the show. Always like to start off with a bit of apart from our obvious welcome, and lovely to see you, a bit of introduction to tell our audience a little bit about the A&ME. If you wouldn't mind.
No, thank you very much for having me again. I think this is the second time we've done this, so thanks very much. So the A&ME, or the Association of Network Managers in Education, is a not-for-profit organisation run by two network managers, myself and Rick. I think Rick's on tonight. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
And we started running these face-to-face meetings. I know it's a novelty, but we did used to do face-to-face meetings back in 2014 with the idea of bringing together IT professionals working in education, just talking to each other, networking with each other, sharing ideas, swapping stories, listening from industry experts, listening from members as well, the members, as well as being given the opportunity to see sort of vendors and suppliers at these shows. And it's been a great success. Obviously, unfortunately, with the pandemic, we like a lot of organisations have had to switch online, and we've got a fantastic portal where I'm really pleased to say that members are really helping each other out, supporting each other, and it's been a really great platform to see everyone just sort of mucking in some extremely difficult times and some challenging times as well. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Fingers crossed, in March I can exclusively announce, we'll be starting to hopefully run face-to-face meetings again in March. So we will be running in the Northwest, West Midlands, South, Southwest, and fingers crossed, just across the border there in Yorkshire, we'll be running our first ever meeting in Yorkshire. And so, yeah, we're really looking forward to that. Excited to meet members. The number of members that have sort of contacted me saying, when we're meeting again, and suppliers like yourself as well. Al, have been mentioning, are you running them again? So, like I said, yeah, we're running them again. Obviously, the ANME will be down at BET. So we'll be down on the NetSupport stand with you great guys. So thank you very much. A big thanks from us as well for hosting us. I think this is the third year we've been on your stand. So, looking forward to sort of meeting members and catching up with the sort of old and new friends, really.
Thanks for sharing that, Ben.
Yeah, brilliant, and I love what you're trying to achieve with the ANME, and you'll get this adage about the network being more powerful than the node, but having an opportunity to come together and share and have those conversations because often in problems you find in one place are often similar problems faced somewhere else, and a problem shared is a problem halved, and all those sort of things. So I love what you're trying to achieve with the ANME, Ben. Really looking forward to seeing you at BET again, and I won't mention any late night lift trips up and down at the Premier Inn and things, obviously, but I've done that now. There we go. Whoops a daisy. No. Really looking forward to seeing you again, Ben, and please give my love to all your colleagues and things at the school as well. If people want to find out more about the ANME, get involved. If you're a network manager in the Southwest, and let's say someone like Gary Henderson, for example, someone I know lives locally, wants to get involved, how could they do that?
So as coming across the bottom there, you just go to anme.co.uk, and then in the top right of the website, you just click join. I need to point out it's free to join. The meetings are free to attend, and we also provide a very good lunch. And there is such a thing as a free lunch as well. I would like to point out and use this as a shout out as well, that this Friday we will be running the last of this year's ANME pub event. It again is free for members to attend. A big thanks to our ambassadors. We have a great bunch of ambassadors, but in particular to Tim, Jack and Terry, who've run these pubs since, I think last year in the pandemic. They were doing them every Friday. And then I think recently we've been doing them every term. And it's just a great way for sort of members to sort of let off a bit of steam, sort of have a good laugh, unwind. And I think the last one went on till the late hours. So, yeah, a big thanks to them guys for running that as well, because I know I've joined in a few and it's been great as well.
Ben, I just have to jump in at the end there and just validate the regional events are definitely worth attending for anybody who's interested in networking. And I can also validate they're good lunches as well. So there's a win-win for that. But as we've asked everybody else, what, from your point of view, maybe I'll flip it slightly. What are you looking forward to most about BET? Is there any particular technology that's of particular interest to you?
I think cybersecurity is still a big issue. So I think it's finding sort of solutions there around that. I think, that's still prevalent. It's still a big issue. I think we've made such big gains over the last 18 months. It's making sure we're constantly building on that. Again, obviously, I know this is about ANME, but I know in our own school, we've done a one-to-one scheme. We've also refreshed all the audio-visual technologies in the classrooms and gone with touch screens to sort of link in with the sort of the devices we've got. And obviously the platforms, Google, Office, things like that. I think it's looking at that and how and I think also like moving to the cloud as well, how we do that as well. we've made great strides because we've had to in moving from on-prem to cloud. So I think, I'll be looking at a lot of things personally. Again, I'm just looking forward to, like everybody said, is just talking to people face to face. Can't wait. Really excited just to catch up with people. It's great things like this, but face to face, you can't beat it.
Absolutely. And I think something Mark and I also both share is when we say, and recognize the efforts in education, we're always mindful that, over the last 18 months, it's not been just teachers going that extra mile and doing amazing things, but actually, lots of what we've done in terms of transformation and innovation has relied on network managers and technicians to kind of be there supporting and delivering that change. So I think it's a credit to everybody who works across the IT estate, across all of our schools as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Some have put in some serious hours and like you said, made some big gains in their schools. So yeah, big credit to them.
Absolutely. Well, it's lovely to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and
absolutely.
hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see you both. Not in the lift, hopefully, at the Premier Inn, but Bet in next month.
Look forward to
absolutely. Take care, Ben.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
Yes, thanks, Ben.
Great group at Anime, Mark. Always a really friendly bunch. And why spend hours Googling it when you can ask a fantastic, collaborative of experienced IT and network managers all at one go. So it's definitely worth checking out. And it's free to join, free to attend the events. That's a pretty easy deal to push in my mind.
No, absolutely. And another benefit of as well is the fact that I often share that Twitter is better than a Google search, but the thing is, often the things that network managers need to be asking aren't really appropriate for that sort of platform. And so, being able to do that with like-minded professionals who will have that same sort of approach and what have you, and do so in a sort of closed garden kind of a way, and be really helpful as well, and have access to all that sort of support as well is fantastic in my book. So. Yeah, absolutely. So look, we're nearly at the end of the show. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Welcome to the show again. I understand she's had to undertake a bit of jiggery pokery to arrange to get a nice Christmas jumper to join us on the show this evening. She's done better than me on that front for sure. But welcome back to the show again, please, Katie from Time. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, hello guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Good to see you, Katie.
Hi, Al. Yeah, I have the Christmas jumper. I've got a reindeer one with bells. So
wow, that's trumped us.
Yeah, far better than my effort. Unfortunately, I've just got a little flashing blue light on mine. That's about it. So welcome, Katie. And this isn't your first time on the show, but for those who are uninitiated and aren't aware of what Time is, could you spend a moment just talking about who you are, what you do, and what your offer is into education, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Time platform is just about a bit like you and Simon were saying earlier about using tech to make life a bit simpler. So that's the idea, that we are putting things into one place. It's a professional development platform for teachers, parents and students. So for the whole school community, which is really nice. So there's different sections for different professionals, so they can look on and they can sort of see what help do they need with their students, what help do they need with their children, or as students, what help do they need for themselves, all in one place, rather than just searching Google and endlessly scrolling. We've just put it all into one place for them, so courses and content.
Brilliant stuff. And so could you give some examples of the sort of content they'd find on there then?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the teachers, we split it into 3 different sections. So we've got a Time for Me section, which is all about looking after themselves, which is so important in this day and age, more so than ever. So wellbeing courses, money management courses, just looking after themselves, healthy eating, healthy lifestyle, emotional and mental support as well. So that's on there. And then a Time to Climb section. So supporting those early careers teachers right from the start, all the way through to retirement, climbing the ladder. We've got different courses on how to become part of the SLT, or how do you know that you're ready to climb that ladder. So they're on there. And then the last section, Mark Your Likes, it's all about sort of EdTech products and how EdTech can really, if you get to know it, how it can really help and have a benefit to your teaching and to the school. So that's on there as well for teachers. For parents, we've got some really nice courses. Actually, we've got some courses for whole families, so you can sit down with your children and do some of these things together, and some just for parents as well. So again, about personal development, so how to write a CV, how to climb the ladder at work as well, that's on there for parents. But more importantly, how to support your child through different things they might be going through, from everything from revision to anxiety to coping with grief. All of these courses are on there designed to help parents when they need them, so they can just click on that and the answer should be there for them. For the students, the teachers will have access to all three of the platforms. So for the younger students, we've got things on cybersecurity, we've got things on like, again, looking after themselves and healthy lifestyles, and that's there for the teachers to integrate into their lessons or set as a homework. But for the older students, we've got career aspirations, we've got courses on climate change, really exciting stuff coming soon. I'm uploading about 60 courses at the moment, just to sort of fill it out a bit more.
One of my favorite words I always like to use, I think it sounds like you've got a cornucopia of resources in there, Katie, and it's great to see that, as you've just highlighted there, it's constantly growing and expanding, which is fantastic. If we were a school who was interested in all the resources available in time, is that something that a school can check out in advance, have a play with, evaluate, get a sense of the categories?
Yeah, absolutely, Al. So head teachers or senior leaders, if they let us know, we can upload their email. They can then explore the site and see what they think about it. We've got some head teachers doing this at the moment, and they're then feeding back things that they want. So at the moment, there's people want some healthy eating. So I'm in conversations with a company who work with Nottingham University about healthy eating. So we're talking about that now. Definitely the career stuff, we're in conversations with Barclays about getting some career aspiration stuff on there as well for the young people. So yeah, it's all about this collaboration. I think that's key. We want the content to be valuable, so not overwhelm them, but be really valuable, things that they want and they need for their school community. Brilliant.
And they're kind of following our theme this evening, as well as hopefully just sharing with us about where people can go to find out more. Katie, what does BET mean to you? What are the highlights for you from a BET experience?
Yeah, well, this is the first time we're going to be at BET as Time, so quite excited about that. So I'm really hoping to network with some people and find out what they feel about the platform and what they feel could be valuable to us, because we've just got to keep growing it and adding more content and making it really relevant to our audience. Otherwise, there's just no point having it. So I want to have those conversations. Bassett, as you know, who's the co-founder of Time, he's going to be talking in the arena. So he's going to be having a little chat about Time. I think that's on Thursday about 4 p.m. And then he will be very keen to meet with some people as well. So I'm hoping that people get in contact with us over Twitter or email and just arrange a time to have a cup of coffee and find out a little bit about, what Time is and how it can really benefit their school community.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So where do people go to find out more about Time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the website is www.time-training.com, which is part of Siddiqui Education. So that's why you see that down there. You can see us on Twitter at TimeEdu. So yeah, come and visit us. You can email us at hello@time-training.com as well. So we'd love to hear from you.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you for taking the time to come and join us again, Katie. Look forward to seeing you in about 5 weeks' time at BET. And yeah, it'd be nice to do it and meet properly IRL. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to as well. So awesome. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come and share with us again this evening. Thanks, Katie. Cheers.
Thanks.
Take care. Keep safe.
And Merry Christmas. Everyone's festived up more than me. I mean, all this snow. I mean, I'm feeling pretty chilly, Al, but I feel like I've let it slide down a bit, mate.
Well, lesson learned, matey, for next year. Let's plan ahead well this time. We've got a nice kind of top and tail for tonight, Mark, in terms of we've started with BET and we're ending with something that runs alongside BET in terms of the hosted leaders program from Learn It. So it's kind of quite a nice one to kind of close off our conversations this evening and our excitement for the third week of January to invite Sarah in.
And here she is. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, absolutely lovely to join you, Al and Mark.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm delighted to come and have a chat to you about Learn It, which, as you said, is happening alongside BET this year.
Lovely to see you, and glad to see you've got the festivities alongside you there.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make a background work, so you'll have to make do with my Christmas cactus.
Your festive Christmas cactus, very good.
Yeah.
So, running alongside BET, then, could you share a little bit about what people can expect to find if they come along and join you at the Hosted Leaders Programme?
Of course, yeah. So our Hosted Leaders Programme is a series of curated meetings for school, university and government leaders to meet thoughtfully selected education solution providers to discover innovative new products and services via 15-minute face-to-face meetings. And so it's essentially a bit like speed dating, but for EdTech solutions. And unlike speed dating, everyone will have a good time and everyone will get something out of it.
I like that analogy. That's a good one.
Mr. Kingsley. We keep doing that this evening, don't we? Talking over each other, don't we? I'm just going to over to you. Sorry, Sarah.
We'll be fine when we're all in the same location in January. So yes, Sarah, you're obviously highlighting there, and it's that kind of theme there. Is there any particular strands in terms of additional content that's being shared in terms of presentations and alongside the chance to speed date, for want of a better term?
Yeah, as if that weren't enough, the Learn It conference is taking part alongside it, and the Learn It conference is basically a space for educator leaders to come and have a intellectually honest discussion about changes that are happening in education. I don't know if you're aware, but there's been a pandemic over the past 2 years. It's been in the news, I think, and so there's been quite a few changes to the education landscape. And what we're asking people to do is come along, tell us what they've changed, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and talk about sort of where we go next. And it's quite exciting. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think it's very exciting.
I think it's exciting too, and I think education and reflective practice it's perfectly aligned, isn't it, to kind of think about the lessons learned. We normally ask people about, as you've probably noticed this evening, about what are you looking forward to most at BET, but I think we have to revise our question slightly for you, Sarah, which is what are you looking forward to most at Learn It?
Yes, Learn It, which is the most important part of BET. Remember that. I think definitely the speakers. We've got such a range. We've got over 100 speakers speaking across 36 different tracks, touching on subjects such as tech in the classroom, mental health and well-being, new partnerships, assessment, and then we've also got 16 fantastic keynote speakers, ranging from Rangina Hamidi, who was the acting Minister of Education for Afghanistan before having to flee the country earlier this year. We have some students from the Brit School coming to talk to us about how technology really transformed their understanding of learning. And we have a debate on education between AJ Krabil, who's works in education in the US, and Catherine Burble-Singh, who is the headmistress of Michaela School and the government's social mobility czar. We also have at least one session that is going to be moderated by one Mr. Al Kingsley. So if you turn up to nothing else, turn up to that.
Very well highlighted there. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm looking forward to that as well. I think it's going to be some great guests on that panel to discuss as well. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time, and it's obviously, I think it's fantastic for people coming down to the Excel to have so much choice in terms of CPD, vendor engagement. irrespective of which direction, or ideally both directions, you choose to spend your time across the aisles at the Excel. So if anybody wants to find out more, Sarah, I'm guessing it's not too late to register to get involved in the event.
Absolutely not. So you can either follow us on Twitter, we're at learnit_world, or you can sign up on the website, which is learnit.world. You'll find links to sign up to the Hosted Leader program, as well as a link to the full agenda, so you can have a look and just see that I'm not lying. There is a really good packed schedule waiting for you at the Excel.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're looking forward to it. I'm really conscious that you've been last on the show this evening, but I think we've done a perfect way of topping and tailing the show with both sides of the learning adventure that we'll have in January.
Exactly, late but absolutely worth the wait.
Indeedy. Thank you so much. Have a lovely Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas, and hopefully see you in January.
Yes, you will.
Fingers crossed.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there we go, Mr. K.
We are looking forward to even more now to January. We're going to be sport for choice, and there's some really, really rich and really good content that's available at the Learn It event. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So what I'm looking forward to most is getting this jumper off, because I think I've lost a couple of pounds during the event of this show. I have to say, it's a little bit hot whilst you're just chilling.
Well, you should have worn that when you were in Dubai, because I read this week that the Dubai government are offering 500 dirhams for every kilo you lose in a health initiative drive. So next time you're in Dubai, I'll make sure you take that jumper with you, and you could come back with lots of dirham available to you, given the heat that you find in Dubai.
That is a top tip, and you heard it here first, folks.
There you go.
Make sure you take a woolly jumper.
Before we wrap up the show, though, Al, and I'm going to ask you a question now, if that's okay with you. Given the answer that almost everybody has given, I'd like a different answer from you. What are you looking forward to most from your visit to the London Excel and BET in January?
Well, let's put the obvious to one side then about the people and the relationships. One thing I do quite like, sometimes in the very beginning, the early hours of the show before visitors come into the halls, is I like to have a wander around, and sometimes not always at the main, biggest, shiniest stands, but have a look around the edges of the show, go and have a look across at Bet Futures, and just get a sense of some of the new ideas, the new solutions that are coming into the space. Now, sometimes innovation starts on the biggest vendor stands as well, but I think what's really nice is to not only see how existing ideas and technologies are maturing, but also to see just completely new ideas that are, and that innovation. And I think if you go with an open mind, as well as making sure, and that really, sage advice about plan your trip in advance, make sure you've got a list of people you need to see and so on, try and find some time just to have a wander, just to discover things. And I always find there's always some little gem or two or three that you pick up as you're walking around the exhibit hall. So that for me is always quite an enjoyable thing that I look forward to.
I think you're absolutely right. I remember two students who actually developed a product, and they got some funding, and they were only sort of 17 years old. I think sort of 3 or 4 years ago I met them with a product they developed in school, and I think it goes to that adage of that old, not necessarily an adage, but that old school tool called Stumble Upon. Do you remember that in the sort of 90s, Al? And sort of topic and then stumble upon things, and I think that's what you're sort of sharing there. That idea of making time to just see what's out there, because you don't know what you don't know, but there's so much content and so much opportunity to learn what is actually out there. Having that chance to stumble upon something is super important too. So thank you for sharing that. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to ask me the same question now, because I think it's about time we wrapped up so that everyone can go home. And so I'm looking forward to catching up with everyone in January at BET. Please, if you joined us later on, please do download the 50 Things to Do This Winter Break publication that we've shared today through the NetSupport group Twitter account. But from me, and obviously sign up for Rise magazine as well on January 6th with our big Ultimate Bet Guide in there as well. But from me, I just wanted to wish everyone a very, very happy, merry, safe Christmas. From yourself, Al, I'm sure you want to say a similar thing.
happy and healthy. And in the next couple of weeks, just think of somebody you wouldn't give a message to and just ask them how they're doing. But looking forward to seeing you all in the new year, folks. And thanks as always for your support on the Check It Out show.
Take care, everyone.